What's going on, guys? Welcome back to my channel. If you don't already know, my name's Andrew Bond, and today we are going to be unboxing and reviewing Apple's brand new M3 MacBook Air. I don't know about you guys, but I really look forward to unboxing Apple products because it's such a satisfying and minimal experience. Right away, we uncover a brand new laptop and remove the protective paper. Up next, I uncover the MacBook Air document book, which does include 2 silver Apple stickers. Underneath that is the USB-C power brick. And then coiled up in the bottom of the box, you have the braided USB-C cable that magnetically attaches to your MacBook Air. And now for the most satisfying moment in MacBook unboxing. Before I start my testing, let me tell you guys the specs for this laptop so you can get a good idea of performance versus cost. For starters, this is a base model 15-inch M3 MacBook Air, and as you can see right here, it comes with 8 gigabytes of RAM, a 256 gigabyte SSD, and most importantly, Apple's M3 processor, which gives us an 8-core CPU, 10-core GPU, and 16-core neural engine. And with all that in mind, this computer does cost $1,300, obviously not including tax or Apple Care. And spending $1,300 on a brand new MacBook seems like an amazing deal on the surface, but I'll be honest with you guys, this is the very first time I've ever bought a base model laptop from Apple. I usually upgrade it heavily, but this time around, I just didn't feel like spending the money. So with that said, I'm going to trust the process. I'm not going to prejudge and wonder if maybe I should have went with at least 16 gigabytes of RAM or something like that. I'm going to go ahead and let the numbers and the data tell us if we made a mistake or if this is even usable. So I was able to edit 2 pretty simple vertical short form videos, as well as the video you're watching right now on the laptop, and here's everything I learned. So first, transferring files from my SD card to my laptop was a bit slow, but definitely manageable. And with specs this low, you can count on difficulty transferring large 4K files, so make sure you have plenty of time on your hands to wait for everything to transfer. This, of course, is especially true for high resolution and long format clips, so if you're a shorts creator, then this won't really affect you too much and isn't really even something that you'll notice. Photos load almost instantaneously, so unless you're transferring an entire wedding's worth of images, this really shouldn't affect you very much either. And to keep things fair and relative, I avoided using Final Cut Pro since it is optimized to run on Apple devices, and instead did the bulk of my editing work on Adobe Premiere Pro. I found editing itself to be really smooth. I didn't really have any problems building my timeline or chopping up footage. The thing that surprised me the most was that the MacBook didn't even struggle when I was doing speed ramping, and I was even able to play back at full resolution without any stuttering or drop frames. Again, I fully anticipated that this machine would struggle with rendering all this 4K footage, but that went pretty smooth and seamless. And when I went to export my projects, that was quick and snappy as well. Now it was time for me to create a few thumbnails in Photoshop, and I'm happy to report I was able to do that with no issues or hiccups as well. So one question I get asked all the time is how I can constantly afford to be buying brand new electronics that you see me review on my channel. And to answer that, let me introduce you to today's video sponsor, Rent-A-Center. On top of having great deals and product offerings year-round like gaming PCs or tablets, at Rent-A-Center, customers can pick up their favorite items on an affordable rent-to-own contract without using credit with the option to return. And to close out the summer big, Rent-A-Center is also offering the drop days of summer, where you can snag yourself a brand new or refurbished computer like this 15-inch M3 MacBook Air. But that's not all, because there are tons of other cool tech devices in this drop. Some of my favorites are the Apple AirPod Max or the TCL Smart Google TV. And if you want to see all the great deals or explore the diverse range of Rent-A-Center products, be sure to visit the official Drop Days of Summer page, which I will link in the description below. So as you guys know, I am filming and editing this video in real time, which means that we also get instant feedback, and we've already had a change that I want to report to you guys from just a few minutes ago. So remember earlier when I said I was able to do speed ramping and playback in full resolution without any drop frames or any stuttering or anything like that? Well, that's no longer the case, because as the file size has gotten larger, I've actually started to see drop frames and stuttering happening, particularly during playback of speed ramping. It's not the end of the world though. I just changed it to half resolution playback, and the speed ramping itself, like, I can still get it done. It's really not affecting my workflow. So I thought it'd be a good idea to close out of all the apps, get a fresh restart on the MacBook, and then we'll open up Task Manager, which in Apple's case is actually called Activity Monitor. This way we can see real time how much RAM we're using and what we have left to work with. So this absolutely blew my mind, because just running Apple's operating software with no apps open is taking up over 5.5 gigabytes of RAM, which leaves us with a measly 2.5 gigabytes of RAM to complete all of our other tasks. As far as multitasking, I never did more than my editing software, Spotify, and maybe a web browser open at the same time, but at 8 gigabytes of RAM, I really wasn't going to push the issue too much. And as you can see, even with a YouTube video playing, Premiere Pro running, and Spotify music streaming, we are only using up around 7.25 gigabytes of RAM, which lets us fly just under the threshold to get our work done. Now, storage, on the other hand, is going to be a problem. Don't get me wrong, it's great we have an SSD, this way we can maximize speeds, but as far as capacity goes, there is no way 256 gigabytes is enough for literally anybody, let alone a content creator like myself. So if you decide to buy the base model, you better get used to carrying around some type of external hard drive or SSD, or at the very least, you can at least do a Google Drive, or me, I did a Synology NAS this year, which gave me 32 terabytes of usable storage. This way I could access it remotely and things like that. So I have ways to work around this is what I'm saying, but it is definitely a glaring problem. One of the things that's impressed me the most about my time with the M3 MacBook Air has to be the battery, because I've been editing pretty large 4K project files for the last 3 days straight, and I really feel like I've seldomly reached for a charger or been running on low battery at all. So real world usage, you know, opening web browsers, listening to Spotify, editing, doing those things, and just having time gaps and periods in between has been really impressive. But even more impressive than that, the MacBook never really seems to heat up. The aluminum body has stayed cool to the touch, and even when I'm editing on my lap or with the laptop on top of a pillow, the M3 MacBook Air never seems to overheat. The 15-inch screen is bright and vibrant, colors look excellent, and it has plenty of real estate to multitask and get all my editing and Photoshop work done. However, if I were to purchase again, I would go for the 13-inch model. This way, I would be able to fit it into a smaller, more compact camera bag for traveling. The bezels around the screen are definitely thicker than I would like, and I'm still not a fan of the notch at the top of the screen, but overall, the quality is top tier. Of course, having an oversized trackpad is nothing new, but I prefer to bring my own mouse and keyboard anyway, so it's really a non-factor for me. And since I use an iPhone 15 Pro Max as my primary everyday carry, I was able to take full advantage of the Apple AirDrop feature, which most of the time even lets me avoid using Google Drive. Overall, for $1,300, I'm actually pretty thrilled with the M3 MacBook Air. It does everything I need it to do, and I didn't have to pay a ton extra to get that. If there was anything I would change, like I mentioned before, instead of the 15-inch screen, I would have went for the 13-inch just to make it that much more portable. And other than that, I would have went ahead and paid the extra $200 it would have taken to double the RAM to 16 gigabytes. And I think we would have benefited a lot from that, because as you guys can see, I was absolutely pushing the limits of what this machine could do with my editing work, and we really weren't even editing too big of a video on it. So I would absolutely stress out if I was trying to do like a full hour-long video or something like that. I don't think this computer could handle it at all. And with that, that's gonna wrap up today's video. I appreciate everybody for watching. If you liked it and you happen to be new, make sure you hit the subscribe button. That way you get recommended even more of my videos in the future. And let me know down in the comment section below what you want to see me review next. And don't forget to go check out one of these two videos up next, because for some reason, YouTube really thinks you're gonna like them.